都吃苦。我永远是说练1000个干嘛呀？我能不能练200就比你1000个练得好？那怎么样把200个比你1000个好？我的同学们都看就想都不想就1000，我就说他想都不想就做1000了，我一定要想说。怎么样可以弄200下啊？就比他1000下还好呢。
Hey guys, Jerry from Fight Commentary Breakdowns. Look at this, I got my tight cheek clothes today. Now, Jet Li would definitely have not been a good wax on, wax off type of guy, right? Because he's thinking. And it's refreshing to hear this because obviously Chinese society is not too much about, hey, let's question everything. In general, a lot of traditional martial arts, it's not really about questioning, right? Just do it, just do it. The sensei knows best, the shifu knows best, the master knows best. And Jet Li from a young age really liked to question, really liked to think. And there's a reason he was so good at wushu. There was a reason he won so many championships at such a young age. And when he became a director, he became an actor, he became a movie maker, he was good.
你只是做一个机器，听大人说什么就做什么的话，那么全班同学30个都做的是一样的，为什么不30个冠军呢？他一定要想说，我怎么样最短的时间用最好的方法，换一种思维方法，去做别人没做的那个东西，我去做。
但是找到别人没做那东西不是一件容易的事情，
是可以找到。只要你用心，你留意，你就可以找到。
By the way, guys, which movie did Jet Li come out in shades? Quiz for you. Leave the comment if you know the answer. One of you made this pun, so I'm borrowing from you, but Jet Li is giving himself leeway when he's being interviewed like this. Notice he's talking about as a kid, he's questioning the adults, right? So he's not really questioning the authorities. He's not really questioning traditions. Very smart on him. Anyone that's really studied Chinese history knows that a lot of ideas from capitalism were actually invented in China. China is traditionally not just a very poetic society, but a very capitalistic entrepreneurial society. It's so funny too, because I don't run around with cash, but paper money was invented in China. Many things that we don't like about capitalism, aka fiat currency, and that type of inflation was invented in the Song dynasty. It is quite a contradiction because in most people's recent memories, China was a communist society, but actually the average Chinese mentality is very entrepreneurial. And even in Kung Fu training, Jet Li is explaining that you got to think outside the box. You got to be entrepreneurial. You got to work smarter. You got to train smarter.
我的朋友在那个年代里，我找的朋友全是大我10岁的。
哦，
我不跟同龄人做朋友，因为我觉得聊的话题差不多，该干嘛干嘛，该干嘛，这都一样的东西。我喜欢听10年后的人在讲话，就比我大10岁的人，我听他们在讲什么，因为我知道大概我10年后就是他们那个年龄的时候会想那些事儿的。
So growing up, I was the same exact as Jet Li. I basically had a lot of older friends. I didn't get along too well with my peers. Part of it was exactly like what Jet Li said. I just felt that people that were a little bit older than me, it was more sophisticated. I could talk about stuff that maybe at my age, a lot of people my age didn't want to talk about. Even now, I'd say I love adults a little bit older than me because I could learn a lot from them. Now, Jet Li doesn't talk about younger people, but they have new ideas, right? The information they consume is going to be different than me. So that helps me learn too. But you can apply this to anything. So it's not just martial arts training, but we can use the lens of martial arts training. Imagine you had a bunch of friends who have 10 years more experience in jiu-jitsu or 10 years more experience in sabat than you are. How much knowledge can you just learn just by hanging out with them? And here, let's give a shout out to Coach Nicolas Signac. I love hanging out with Coach Nicolas Signac. Jet Li will expand on this even more. I think the concept of a mentor is overrated, but having people that are sort of that middle area, if you have questions, they can answer your questions. And if you need advice, they can give you advice, but it's not as clear cut as a mentor. So it's like a friend, but like an older friend. That's one of the most effective things you can have in life.
我很幸运，我真的很感谢我的师傅，就我吴斌老师啊，他从小带我，我很幸运，因为他很了解，他练武术不行，不是特别好，抱歉，但是他很了解你想什么，像他对我，他基本上教了基本的知识以外。就我们叫基本功做完了以后，他整天基本上就是全国冠军来了，练拳的冠军，连着你跟他练，他带别人，就把我一个人扔给他练。他给我找了无数的老师，各方面的冠军。那2年以后，我把那些冠军都拿下来。
It's pretty cool that his main 师傅 Wu Bing was so open-minded and let him train with other people. Now, obviously, the wushu community is small, so they all knew each other. So this is a little bit different than, let's say, a jiu-jitsu person letting someone train judo. Right now, obviously now, people do that all the time, but we know that the martial arts world is notorious for being sometimes a little cultish, a little bit clan-based, a little bit possessive of their students. If you guys didn't notice, I changed the color of my wardrobe, and that's sort of a representation of what Jet Li training under different teachers was like. The same wardrobe, just a slightly different color. Now, obviously, if you adopt this mentality and you go train jiu-jitsu, you go train savate, you go train Wing Chun, you take the best of the best, then you get Bruce Lee's mentality. Jet Li being so focused on the wushu, the taolu, the dance fu, he had limited time, but I will guarantee you, if Jet Li were born in Hong Kong or born in America, he probably would have been a better Bruce Lee than Bruce Lee. I can just tell, hearing how Jet Li thinks. Bruce Lee growing up until he came to America, Bruce Lee was kind of a wild kid, whereas Jet Li had that discipline from such a young age. Now that, of course, comes with the cultural circumstances and the mentors he had. People celebrate Bruce Lee's ability to synthesize and create something new, but I think if the circumstances were different, we'd be celebrating Jet Li way more than Bruce Lee. But in general, this can apply to so much of life. This isn't just martial arts advice, it's good life advice. If you want to get good at something, you gotta have teachers, and seek out teachers that could teach you from a different angle, another skill. The subtext behind this is Jet Li is also a very humble guy. Whenever there was a new teacher, he didn't go, oh, I'm too busy, or I don't want to learn from you, or I think I don't have anything to learn from you. He went and learned. And so that is his approach starting when he was a young kid. The other lesson that we can learn from this is give credit where it's due, right? He's very thankful of all his teachers, and he's also very thankful of Wu Bing. Give thanks, man. Give thanks. And here I give thanks to all of you, especially channel members, man. When I saw that I got 20 channel members, it made me feel like I was going somewhere. You could say maybe part of why I decided to do this was because I saw that I got 20 channel members. Even though the YouTube algorithm's a little bit of a low in January and February, there were people, audiences, viewers that still believed in my channel. So you gotta be thankful, and I'm thankful for all of you guys.
教我拳的老师，2年以后我站在讲台第一，他第二；教我刀的人，我站在第一，他站第二。就是拜师多，学不同的知识。因为我的师傅知道我喜欢想，所以就不同的老师，所以我老师多的是。
You can learn a lot as an educator too, and as a parent, because we all know of the person who's always asking questions. Not just like asking questions, but really asking questions. I had a friend in college. His name was Edward. Shout out Edward. I met him in an astronomy class in college, and he had a question. And they were all pretty good questions after almost every break, and it got to the point where the teacher got annoyed. Jet Li likely was that type of student. He had the right types of teachers that were able to kind of take that and build that into it. A lot of times, unfortunately, because we are human, when those questions keep coming, we often shut them down. Our mind reaches a threshold and we're like, can you just be quiet? All of us have been like that. And I'm sure some of Jet Li's mentors, some of Jet Li's teachers had that thought, and maybe they even told him once in a while that, hey, stop. But ultimately, this type of person who asks good questions, who's always thinking, they could turn out real good or real bad. And this goes against the collectivist mentality, but certain people deserve special attention. And this type of person does deserve a special type of attention. And thank goodness Jet Li got it correctly, because he ended up inspiring and creating so much good stuff. But it also makes sense why you think of Jet Li now. He's always thinking about giving back, especially to the Kung Fu community. He probably recognizes there was special attention paid to him, and that's why he grew so much. So it's time to give back.
我的那些老师都是25、26岁，我12岁，我站在领奖台第一名领奖台上还不够他们个儿高呢，那时候。
So we have a lot more. Again, I tell you guys, this is a 5-hour interview. This is the second part of my translation. Originally, I was going to stop at the first, but then you guys kept requesting I watch more of it. And then as I watched more of this, I got more gems. So I have to translate more of this. You guys requested it, and I took a look, and I agree. We're going to translate all 5 hours, okay? All the gems from these 5 hours, we're going to translate them. If you guys want to support me, don't just like and comment and subscribe if you're not subscribed. one, consider being a channel member, but two, interact with other comments and do it positively, please. Even if you don't want to do it positively, do it positively. Show YouTube that I got a community that's a nurturing community. That will hopefully let YouTube know that, hey, promote this guy because he's building good, positive vibes in the martial arts community, in the general world. So thank you guys so much. We got so much more fight commentary breakdowns out.